Welcome back to Sports Forensics and Picks. I'm Matt Corbett alongside John Patterson. Thanks for being here with us today. Today we are discussing NCAA football, college football week 3, and we're going to be discussing 7 games in particular. And John has a lot of great insights on these games. So, very first game we're going to discuss is UNLV at Kansas. I'm showing UNLV plus 9.5 and a money line plus 270. What do you think, John?
Well, I like the points in this game. I also like the money line. I know that Vegas Insider is showing some pretty funky opening numbers on this, but I don't buy it. I thought I distinctly remembered this one opening at 10 plus 300.
Yeah, I
And
showed it on Vegas Insider opened at 7, which I thought was interesting. We'll also discuss there's another game too that we noticed some funky business as well.
okay, yeah. And you know what? I think that I don't know if it's by design or not, but sometimes they always just kind of seem to have misinformation. I like the fact that they had, numbers from so many different sports books. That's always good. But when you really dive into the spreads and the money line prices, it tends to be a little not nearly as dependable as say someone like a Bodog or Bovada, excuse me. And I like to go by them. And I thought I remembered it opening at 10 and plus 300. And at plus 300 at 10 points, to me, that's a buy price on the dog. And so, granted, UNLV, what are they, Mountain West going against a power conference. So it would make sense that Kansas would be favored. But excuse me, I know we're only 2 games into the season, but this UNLV team's put up like nearly 100 points in those 2. So they know how to score. Those guys, and in a touchdown, you got to move the chains a bunch of times. So this is a team that knows how to move the chains, and it's not like Kansas is synonymous with, postseason hopeful, possible championship. So 9.5 is a huge head start for a team that could put up 50 points. So I really like those points. But the money line at plus 270, that's one of the lowest prices that you're going to see for a money line. 270 plus 270 at plus 9.5. It's usually plus 320. So 50 basis points right there. That's a lot. I don't like Kansas just because of that. I like UNLV. And let's just do this. When we like most of my picks today, I'm really kind of talking about what many would consider a bunch of dart throws. But these, I've omitted a lot of the games where I like the favorite just because I really want to focus on opportunities to make money. So money line picks that are all at good odds, but whatever you put on the money line, go ahead and put 2 to 3 times that amount on the points. Again, you don't want a good pick to become a losing pick, but you do want to give you a chance to just, rake their eyes out at the book and really, really, gut punch them. What do you think?
Yeah, so a couple things. So you're saying essentially, hey, if this was plus 300 or 320 like it should be, you actually like the plus 270 better on the money line because it's less, because that is how they mess with you. And that makes more sense for that pick potentially hitting. Is that correct, John?
Well, I don't think it's a function of them hitting us. I think it's a function of, hey, you know what, of reducing their exposure, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if everyone's betting UNLV, then they stand to lose a shit ton, keeping it at 300 or 320 or whatever it might be. Now, having said that, it was just last week in the Colorado Nebraska game where it was a 7.5 point or a 7 point line, even months before the season even started. So, and they kept that line all of last week, but it was plus 230 at 7 for Colorado, which made me really bullish on them. But we just saw what an absolutely horrible team they were.
Mm-hmm.
They've got some rock stars on their team, but this isn't basketball.
Yeah,
You can't
wow.
go out there with 2 or 3 studs and expect to have a great team. You go out there with 2 or 3 studs and a bunch of people that can't block, can't pressure a quarterback, can't do anything. That I really saw firsthand. I think we all did exactly how bad Colorado was. And they had a chance to on a really, really big stage to do something amazing. And I personally had some egg on the face. I was looking for them to and it wouldn't have been an upset. I expected them to win, but it was sad for me to see exactly how bad they still are. And so, but yeah, but last week plus 230 looked really good for Colorado. It really verified the fact that, hey, a lot of money's going on this team. They got to drop it because they've got to reduce their exposure, because that's how sports books get hurt. Coco, do you agree with me on that?
Coco's always just getting involved. Yeah, she did not today. We got things to talk about.
All right. Well, Coco does better than we do. But anyway, I'm not afraid when you see the money line going down. It's not because they're messing with us at all. It's just Vegas reducing its exposure. I mean, because if they kept it at 300 and people keep putting $100, or 320, every $100 bet's another $50 that they lose, that they stand to have to pay over and above the astronomical price they're already paying out to an underdog. So
right, and so you were saying also, to kind of hedge your bet. So if you have a good pick and you want to throw a dart at a money line, let's say that has some good value, you
yes.
put $1 or 1 unit on that. You also want to back that up by taking the points as well. In that particular game. So like UNLV, plus 9.5. You can take them money line, but you should also, and you said take twice as many, maybe. So if you put a unit on the money line, maybe put 2 units on the points, just so that you have that backup, and then you're not wasting that great pick, in case they don't actually win the game. They will cover though. And of course it is gambling, and the favorite could win, and cover as well. But like you said, that's why it's gambling.
Bravo. Very good. Yeah. And, if you want to, for every 1 you put on the money line, you put 2, 3, 4, whatever you feel. And it's really more of a function of how big the spread is. Because if you're getting 18 points on the spread versus the money line, there's a lot of play there. I mean, boy, a lot of people going home unhappy at halftime, when at least they would have still had a chance with the points. So, and my brother is really, really good at doing this. I mean, if my long shot money line pick resonates with him, then he'll bet it pretty big on the points, and it's just a party for everyone when the money line does happen. Because not only is everybody a winner, but you become even a bigger winner, because you don't lose on anything when you cover it both ways. Yeah. But it's not fun at all when you're the guy that says, "Oh yeah, I love this team on the money line. They lose by a field goal." And everybody else out there that took the points are all high-fiving yourself, going, "Yeah, we covered." I'm like, yeah.
You're right.
So yeah, you want to protect yourself.
That makes a lot of sense. So we were briefly talking about Colorado here. Let's go ahead and talk about that game. Colorado this week at Colorado State. Colorado right now, a 7.5-point favorite. But of course, this is the week that you're throwing darts at money lines and looking to take some points here and cover some bets here. So Colorado State plus 7.5. The money line right now, as Friday afternoon, plus 240.
Plus 240, 7.5 at plus 240. That's definitely a good buy price for the money line. But look at that, they're getting 7 and a hook. Mm-hmm. Colorado State. So, well, that almost makes Colorado look up. To be honest, it almost looks Colorado on the laying the points look better than Colorado State, because they would have to win by 8 or more. And 8 points is closer to like plus 280 to plus 300. But last year, these two teams, I believe they went to overtime together, but it was a super close game, and Colorado State seemed to have control through most of it. And last week, I just wasn't sold on Colorado having improved so much with another year with Coach Prime and some of his pro buddies, helping these guys get up to the level. I know they brought in a few players, but they just simply did not do enough to make themselves a legitimate program, in my estimation. And being that it's an interstate rivalry, I mean, these two are the biggest school, each other's is going to play. And being that it's so early in the season, I think you could kind of have a mea culpa for Coach Prime, because if they run off a series of wins after this, they still have a chance to actually possibly end up in the 12-team tournament. And so I'm saying that, which totally stands in the face of me saying how bad they are as a team.
Right.
But they could run off a bunch of wins, and perhaps last week's demolition, which actually wasn't as close as the score said. They really got manhandled. I don't know if Sadir Sanders not running the ball and just letting them sack him. He stood there like a statue.
Mm-hmm.
I would not say that was part of a plan and it was by design, because nobody could try to look that bad and actually look that bad, except maybe Eric Montross about 25 years ago when he was at North Carolina against Liberty in the first round of the college tournament, when they were 19-point favorites as the number 1 team in the tournament and couldn't cover. Watching him just throw the ball out of bounds, it was just, that was absolutely brutal. But that's what Colorado reminded me of that last week. They were that bad.
That's incredible. I don't remember any of that.
So give me the money line. Give me the money line on Colorado State. But I would not advise taking the points actually in this one, because they're getting 7.5. And so that almost seems like too good to be true. And when it's too good to be true, don't do it. But the fact that it's a 7.5 point line and it's not even plus 250 makes me like that dart shot. You might hit the bullseye taking Colorado State. And the fact that they're at home, it's the type of game where they rip down the field goal post. And I love it when that happens, especially when we're on it.
Especially when it's, the home team upset, interstate rivalry, that would be an incredible thing. Bama at Wisconsin. This was one of the weird ones that on Vegas Insider, it said the line opened at 8.5 for Alabama, -8.5. Now they're -16.5 or 16, but Wisconsin plus 16 at home, plus 500 on the money line.
Get a life, Vegas Insider. So you're telling me it opened at what, 8? And now it's 16? It went up 8 points? No, it didn't.
Right.
That's just wrong. That's got to be misinformation. But Alabama, the number 4 team in the country, laying 16, plus 500 for Wisconsin. Here's why I like that game more than anything, and it's super stupid, but crazy enough to work.
Mm-hmm. Always.
It's a 9 o'clock Pacific game time. Alabama doesn't play 9 o'clock games. Wisconsin does. So I'm sure it's going to be, in alignment with their standard broadcast network. But Alabama doesn't play 9 o'clock games where it's basically a scheduled squashing, which is what a 16-point line against a legitimate program in the Badgers would be. So
Badgers.
Sorry. Give me one more of those. Give me one more.
Badgers.
The Badgers. So, but I don't think Alabama, having said that, I don't think Alabama is as good as its number 4 rating. Now, they did come out when they were scheduled to only win by like 30 against a terrible team in week 1 and won that by 50. But watching them, they just seem like they have bigger players. And so, it's kind of like, a skilled guy playing one-on-one against somebody 1.5 feet taller than them. You're just not going to beat them. So, you can't teach height, right? But Alabama might be bigger, faster, whatever. But I just don't think that they have a scheme that impresses me. They don't go out there and get first downs on every play against bad teams. They're going to third down too much. And I just don't buy into it. Saban's not there anymore. So the recruiting machine had kind of stopped because, Nick, he was kind of connected. He got in the right guys. And look how many people are in the pros today, because of that program. So I like Wisconsin. They're at plus 500. That means 5-1 odds. So if you're only going to bet, and it's a 9 o'clock game, you know what? Start off with a little bit, bet conservatively. But if you could turn your hundo into 6 hundos, you've got a good stake to play the entire weekend and have a blast. You know what? Even $10, turn 10 into 60, or turn 10 into nothing. Hey, 3 hours of entertainment. You can get that at the movies.
Right.
So yeah, why not? Let's go with Wisconsin.
I like it. And don't forget to back it up with at least twice as many on the points. All right. LSU.
Thank you.
Yeah. LSU, what are they ranked? Like 16th now?
Yes.
At South Carolina. South Carolina beat up on Kentucky a week ago, and I liked Kentucky in that game. I'm not ashamed to bring it up here. South Carolina looked really good. They're at home, and they are an underdog at home, +6. The money line only +190.
It sounds to me like you like South Carolina.
Yes, I do.
Well, I do too. I like the +190. I like the points. Actually, I might even like the points more because if you bet 10 on the money line, call it 10, get you 30. If you bet 10 on the points, 10 basically gets you 20. If you lose your 10, you got 0. So here are your options betting $10 on that game: 0, 20, or 30. Let's go with the 20. So I think the points are strong, but I really like that money line. So again, take the money line, but back it up to where you remain a winner. LSU's the number 16 team. They did not show a lot against USC, and that's a team that just in the last couple of years just given up a ton of points. So I don't know exactly how much firepower LSU has on the offensive side of the ball. And given, thank you for pointing out the whooping that they put on Kentucky. So the Gamecocks are a lot gamer than we probably gave them credit for.
The Roasters.
Yeah, but if LSU can win by a touchdown and cover, that just shows me that maybe the odds makers are starting to give they're going to give South Carolina some respect, because they might even be a better team than LSU. But you can't just see like one game and have this knee-jerk reaction and overcorrection, because that would definitely expose them to some major potential losses. If people were just jumped on South Carolina. So let's go ahead and give an up arrow to South Carolina as a program, not just for tomorrow, but just in general, and a down arrow for LSU. So they might just be on wrong sides of the escalator at this point.
Yeah, and I'm honestly surprised at how good South Carolina looked a week ago. I was not high on them this year whatsoever, and they proved me wrong. So, try to ride that train. Boston.
You like Cox?
Yeah, Boston College at Missouri. Now, Boston College ranked 24th in the land. They beat Florida State when they were ranked 10th a week ago or something. And
yeah, but they were ranked 10th before they lost to
Georgia Tech. Yeah, so they kept them ranked 10th into the next week, and they really screwed with people. And we were on Boston College a week ago. We knew that they were at least going to cover those points, and they won outright. But that's why they're in the top 25 now. And now they're going to Missouri. Missouri is -14.5 at home here. So what do you think about this one?
I love Missouri. I think that BC, even being in the top 25, it's 100% a function of them beating Florida State, who also lost in the very first game of the season, of course, to the aforementioned Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. So, but Missouri is the real deal. And I like Mizzou because they have such ugly uniforms. They just kind of fade to black, don't they? I mean, there's really nothing pretty about them as a program. I mean, it just seems like they're like Vandy, but further west. But they're good. They're really good. And I put them on the same level, if not even better than Ole Miss. So those are two programs that aren't used to having all that luster and fanfare as some of the other big programs, but they're just as good this year. I mean, I'm not going to say either of them could beat Ohio State, but I am saying that either of those two, Ole Miss or Mizzou, could possibly even beat Georgia. And so I like Mizzou. 14 and a hook.
14 and a hook.
Again, they're going to that 14.5, you know,
That's how they get you.
in real scoring, it's more like saying they got to win by 17.
Yeah.
You know, they're not going to win by 15. They're not going to win by 16. If so, you know, 2 touchdowns and a field goal. But BC, I mean, they won a very high profile game on TV. And that's why they're there. And I'm not so sure they belong. And so I look to see Mizzou actually put them back out of the top 25. And this is the only favorite that I even want to talk about this week, just because it's time that we step up and talk about Missouri as a program, and that starts today.
And that game's, you know, an earlier game as well. But yeah, that sounds fantastic. Mizzou, let's go. Oregon at home, 9th in the land at Oregon State. Now I know there's a 17 discussion in this one, 17 points you want to discuss. I know Oregon State is plus 16.5, plus 475 on the money line. Or I just can't get over Oregon struggling against Idaho, the Vandals. Can't get over that. Anyway, take it away, John. Talk about the 17.
Well, you just gave me the only reason that I'm not so bullish on Oregon State, and that they showed that they're a little bit weaker.
They're the only one of 2 teams left in the Tupac.
That's right. Well, Oregon State, but yes, them in Washington State, but Oregon, they're one of the top programs in the country. To open up the season, they were the 3rd highest favored team to win it all. Yeah, they've misfired coming out of the gate, but this is a true rivalry, interstate rivalry. And now they're in different conferences, but they still have a lot of the same you know, relationships. They're very, very close to one another geographically, but most importantly is the divide in people. You know, the boosters, the crowd, the people who actually live there. So this is going to be, you know, regardless of the fact that now they're playing in different conferences, there will be a lot behind this game. It's like Louisville, Kentucky. It's one of those things. And so even, it doesn't matter if they're in a different conference, there's a true rivalry here. So, but plus 475, that's the lowest money line price of any game that is plus 16 or beyond. It's the lowest. I mean, there's even games at 16 that have better prices, plus 500 or whatnot, at 16. So there's money going on Oregon State, and perhaps rightly so, because it is a legitimate rivalry. But this is one of those old Pac-10, Pac-12 specials that I just love. I love betting these because it's usually the money line itself, how high or how low it is compared to the spread, and how big the spread is that tells me, hey, could this be one of those games where they just play each other tough because it's a rivalry? So the safe play is the points, but don't be afraid to throw that dart. Again, today, the one theme is, hey, we want to show you some games that have legitimate shots at being upsets. You know, Oregon State shocks Oregon. No, they didn't. You know, so and of course, if they do, you know, the student section's going to empty and they're going to all, you know, jump in the field, and it's going to be a big deal. I didn't even see what time it starts, but I would imagine it's going to be a night game. So it's going to be the biggest thing going on in the state, and so you're not going to see a blowout. It's that simple.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's going to be a good game. I'm excited to watch that one. I love rivalry games, interstate rivalries. You know, this is exciting. Moving on to a game, TCU at home against UCF, University Central Florida. UCF is +2 at the moment against TCU, a team
plus 200 or plus 200 points.
+2 points, and plus 105 is the money line.
Okay, everybody, you might want to, let's think about this. who remembers all the way back 2 whole years ago when TCU was playing in the 14 tournament for the national championship?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they've come, it's only been 2 seasons, and here we are. They're at home facing Central Florida. I don't even know what the team name is of Central Florida. Do you, Matt?
I don't know what their moniker is.
Well, if we don't, then Joe Better doesn't know it either. But everybody knows TCU. The Horned Frogs, Texas Christian University. And they're at home. It's a 2-point spread.
It's insane.
Good grief. Boy, that plus 105. What a money line carrot that is. Give me the minus 110 and the 2 points, just in case something happens and it ends up being a last play thing, or a field goal is either made or missed by the wrong team that could shift the money. But those 2 points, if that's not gold, then gold is fool's gold. Because give me the Central Florida, whatever their names are, over the TCU Horned Frogs. I mean, 2 points at home. They're not even favored by a home field advantage against a team nobody even knows. So,
not even a hook.
Does this qualify as a free money bet?
That's a good question, but this seems like as close as you can get to an obvious pick, right?
Yeah, an obvious bet for the wrong reason, which makes it the right reason. Make sense?
Yeah. So yeah, somehow. Yeah, they are the Knights, by the way, John.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry.
Knights.
But that's the Golden Knights or the Knights?
Just the Knights. They do wear gold though, black and gold, I believe, and white.
Then there we go. It's gold. They're gold. Okay.
Yeah, rock and roll.
So all right. So that's all I got for you. I mean, there's a lot of favorites that I like. There's a lot of games that I like, but I would much rather use this slate as kind of an example of how sometimes there's some really good, deep upset chances. And so that's when you want to take the stab with the dart on the money line, but back it up with the points. Put more money on the points. Don't let a good pick go to waste. I've done that for years. I mean, too many years. It's embarrassing. And so you want to do that. Don't be shocked if 2 or 3 of these super deep underdogs, and there are only like 5 of them on there, plus what I think is just a super lock in that Central Florida game. But in terms of big underdogs, there's 5 of them we talked about. Don't be shocked if 2 or 3 of them hit. And if that happens, if even just 2 of them hit, you're guaranteed to make money. And if you're taking the points, you could make really big money because some of them that might fall just short, they'll cover the points even if they don't win the game outright. So it's weeks like this that are really fun to watch. Your money can go a long way if you're betting in Vegas or just couch potatoing it, betting offshore. So I'm going to have fun with that.
Absolutely. Well, great picks. I hope we kill it this week.
Crush them.
All right, John, anything else? I think we're good to go and sign off.
No, just like everything else. Hey, gang, it's like we'd love you to be able to just recommend us. If you enjoy these videos, tell your friends about it. Like, share, comment. Let us know who you like. We'd love to be able to talk about that stuff. Go ahead and leave comments. We'll respond to them. Yeah, this is definitely a channel that Matt and I enjoy doing it, and we definitely feel that that there's a space for it out there. And if there isn't, there needs to be, because for previously mentioned reasons, and it's just something that we like to do, and we love to be able to share that with you.
100%. All right, folks. Love y'all. Please like, subscribe, share, all that jazz. John, have a great night. Thanks for taking the time. Appreciate it.
You too, buddy. Ciao.
Ciao. Good night.